Welcome to the 27th Annual Menu of Hope event. Our program starts now.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to again welcome you to Children's Hunger Alliance Annual Menu of Hope event. I'm Nick Akins, Chairman, President, and CEO of American Electric Power, and along with my colleague, Melissa McHenry, I am looking forward to today's program. The American Electric Power Foundation is proud to once again be the presenting patron, supporting the important work Children's Hunger Alliance is doing to end childhood hunger. There is little that is more important than making sure kids get the nutrition they need to live healthy, happy lives.
Thanks, Nick. I've served on the board of Children's Hunger Alliance for many years, and I am honored this year to serve as board chair. I have seen the dedication and passion of the team at Children's Hunger Alliance firsthand through some of the most challenging times any of us have ever faced. I know that the need for this work is great, and with the many great partners, much has been accomplished this year. Finding ways to connect hungry children with healthy food is a cause that's really close to my heart.
At AEP, we have been a long-time supporter of this important work. I am pleased today to announce that the AEP Foundation is once again making a 3-year commitment of $375,000 to Children's Hunger Alliance. Melissa and I hope that you will join us in helping feed Ohio's hungry kids.
This year's Menu of Hope program celebrates our partners who, together with CHA, work tirelessly to relieve the pain of childhood hunger. If we can connect hungry kids to nutritious meals, we can change their lives. Please join us to ensure Ohio's children have the food they need to live a healthy life. Let's do this together.
Please welcome the Honorable Governor Mike DeWine and First Lady of Ohio, Fran DeWine.
Hello, I'm Ohio Governor Mike DeWine.
And I'm Ohio First Lady Fran DeWine. We are so happy to be able to participate in this 27th Annual Menu of Hope event.
With your support, the Children's Hunger Alliance is fulfilling an important mission to provide nutritious meals to at-risk children throughout the state of Ohio.
There is nothing more important than helping children, and countless kids have benefited from the meals provided by the Children's Hunger Alliance since it began operations in 1970. Thank you.
Like the Children's Hunger Alliance, our administration is also focused on making sure Ohio's children thrive and succeed. We prioritize success and opportunities for all of Ohio's children. We believe that these efforts will truly make a difference, but we must also address the basic need of childhood hunger. That's why we continue to elevate and drive improvement within the many state programs for children, including food programs that help fill the gaps for families in hardship. We also administer various federal nutrition programs, which the Children's Hunger Alliance sponsors, including those in after-school programs and child care centers.
All of these programs and the partnerships and community support gathered by the Children's Hunger Alliance are making sure Ohio children are receiving the wholesome meals they need to grow and flourish. Thank you to the Children's Hunger Alliance, their partners, and those who support this work.
The children of Ohio need every one of us. Let's do this together.
Hello, I'm Bob Kendrick from ABC6 and Fox 28 News in Columbus. My colleague Stacia Naken and I are honored to again help tell the story of the children in Ohio who are facing hunger. Today's program will highlight some of the ways the Children's Hunger Alliance and their partners are getting nutritious meals in the hands of hungry children. Our virtual format allows us to spread the message of helping Ohio's at-risk children to every corner of the state. Today we'll hear from people who have known hunger as children, and people who are on the front lines today, connecting kids with the food they need to grow and succeed in life.
The number of Ohio children without access to food is staggering. Children's Hunger Alliance needs your help. Today we're raising additional funds so we can reach more children. Your donations turn into meals. Your kindness can change a child's life. We have the power to make that happen for more kids. Let's do this together. On the left of your screen, you see an easy way to make a contribution. Select an amount and follow the instructions. Or you can text Feed Ohio's Kids, all one word, text Feed Ohio's Kids to 76278 and follow the prompts. We'll check on our text to give progress throughout the program. An added incentive to contribute today comes from a great supporter of Children's Hunger Alliance. Here's a special message from Sue Zazon, president of Huntington's Central Ohio region.
Huntington has been a longtime supporter of Children's Hunger Alliance. We share their commitment to feeding Ohio's children. Today, we are honored to be the Text to Give match patron, matching your gifts up to a total of $50,000. Huntington seeks to help build healthy and vibrant communities. Getting food to children who don't know where their next meal will come from is an essential part to the quality of life for all. As you will hear today, Children's Hunger Alliance continues to develop new partnerships and looks for innovative opportunities to get healthy meals to our hungry children. The need in Ohio is so great. Too many children are food insecure. Your gift can change the life of a child. We hope you'll join us and support Children's Hunger Alliance. By matching your gift today, we can work together to give a child a chance to grow, to learn, and to have a brighter future. Let's do this together.
How great is that? Each of your gifts today will be matched dollar for dollar by Huntington. They will double your impact. Thank you, Huntington, for supporting Children's Hunger Alliance and for this extraordinary gift. Children's Hunger Alliance has had a very busy year. Hunger doesn't take a day off when students are not in the classroom, on a weekend or holiday, summer break, or remote learning. What takes the place of the food they have been receiving at school? These gaps need to be filled. Your donations help us do that. CHA has built strong relationships with a growing number of partners who are passionate about the issue and committed to the children. In the midst of a pandemic, they've provided more meals than ever. They're doing it together. To report on the work of the Children's Hunger Alliance, please welcome President and CEO Judy Mobley.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our annual Menu of Hope event. 2 years ago, when we hosted our event, everything was normal. We were excited to have Sugar Ray Leonard as our special guest and to share more about our work with you. Then, within just a few weeks, the pandemic hit, and nothing's been quite the same since. This year, we were hopeful we could host a normal event again, but with the rise in COVID cases late last year, we felt compelled to change our plans. We know it's not the same, but we sincerely appreciate you being with us today. Throughout the pandemic, there have been a lot of changing plans in both our personal and our professional lives. It really doesn't seem possible that we've Zoomed and teamed our way through another year. While some things translate well online, getting food in the hands of a hungry child is not one of them. Ours is truly a hands-on work that takes commitment and collaboration. It has been and continues to be a time of challenge and innovation to make sure hungry children's needs are met. The ongoing pandemic has complicated logistics for us, our partners, and the children we serve. Its impact on families increased the number of food insecure children across our country. Today, 1 in 4 children in Ohio don't know where their next meal will come from. Imagine 1 in 4. That's more than 700,000 children who live in food insecure homes. Our mission is to feed Ohio's children, but we can't do this important work alone. Getting healthy meals to children in need depends on a network of CHA partners, funders, volunteers, and of course, our dedicated staff. We partner with family childcare providers, daycare centers, after-school programs, summer nutrition programs, and schools to ensure that children have enough food to live a healthy life. And this year, we added weekend meals and started providing meals to students when school was on break. With the help of many, we provided over 9,950,000 healthy meals in 2021. Imagine almost 10 million meals to children in need across Ohio. Now I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge some of the organizations and people who partnered with CHA and enabled us to get all those meals to children last year. Many thanks to our presenting patron, the AEP Foundation. They have been our partner in this work for many years, And as you heard at the opening of today's program, they have made another multi-year commitment to help us feed hungry children. We are certainly grateful for their support and humbled by their trust. Thank you to our media partner, ABC6 Fox 28, for supporting CHA in so many ways. Stacia and Bob have raised their voices on behalf of those facing food insecurity and always willingly give their time to help others. Special thanks to Huntington, a longtime supporter of our work, for stepping up to be our $50,000 Text to Give match this year. As Sue Zazon noted, all donations made to CHA today will double, thanks to the generosity of Huntington. We thank Governor DeWine for his words of support. The governor and the members of the Ohio General Assembly have our gratitude for including CHA in the state budget. This is the funding that allows us to provide weekend and school break meals to children across Ohio who don't have enough food at home. There is no federal nutrition program that supports children when school is out. Many Ohio children are benefiting every week thanks to our legislators' commitment to support this important work. My thanks to the elected officials around the state who value and support our efforts. They are great partners and often visit meal sites to see our work firsthand and show support for the children we serve and their families. The Children's Hunger Alliance Board has provided valuable leadership and guidance during this especially challenging year. The governing board and regional advisory boards all have helped us not only weather this difficult year, but overcome the ever-changing circumstances brought on by COVID-19. We thank you for your dedication and ongoing commitment to this work. Last February, I told you about the need to expand food distribution when students were not in school or when childcare settings were closed. Our community partners have been relentless in working with us to find ways to get food to children. In some circumstances, we provided meals to schools and libraries for a weekly grab-and-go pickup. In other situations, we actually mailed boxes of meals directly to children's homes. Meeting the nutritional needs of children has been anything but typical throughout this challenging year. The best way I can describe our approach is find a way to say yes. As some schools have recently started remote learning again, we were asked if we could send 7,500 meals to a school in Southwest Ohio. We said, when do you need them? This year, we again expanded our summer work to sponsor over 300 summer sites, including 7 mobile routes reaching across the state of Ohio. Mobile feeding has made a difference in our ability to reach children. I had a chance recently to show Bob one of our CHA vans and talk to him about how it helps us get food to kids. Take a look.
Well, hey, Judy, thanks for having me out.
Gosh, Bob, we're so glad you could take the time to be with us today.
I know this is something you really wanted to show me and everybody for that matter, the van, and it's something that you're very proud of, I know. How's it helping you?
We have been able to reach so many more kids since we've had this van and we've become mobile. From being able to feed kids in the summer with mobile meals, that was huge to us, to reaching more kids, especially in rural Ohio. We've been able to use it to go to a school that we started a new program this year called Adopt a School, where we take a van full of meals and we pass them out on Friday afternoon. And then the other really fun thing we've been able to do since we've had this van is a volunteer program, where our volunteer coordinator can take the van full of meals to some organization that wants to help us, and they pack meals for an hour or two. It's just been so great to be able to reach kids by having this mobile unit available to us.
I bet the kids see you coming. Let's go take a look in the back here. I know you've got something special to show us there. I understand you just got another one.
We absolutely did. We're so excited. Thanks to the generosity of 2 funders, Grange Insurance and Asset Strategies Group, we're going to be able to do twice as much. Being mobile has made such a difference to our outreach, I just can't even tell you.
Great. What do you have in here now?
Well, interestingly enough, we're loaded up to go to the clinic at Children's Hospital. So we've been doing that work with them for about 1.5 years now, and they give meals to kids as they leave the clinic. So if you're up for it, it's not part of my normal day job, but let's head down there.
All right, sounds good. I'm up for it for sure. You drive.
You know, Bob, when we first started this pilot, you never know how things will turn out.
Right.
We've been providing meals for the last year and a half, every 2 weeks. And so we needed to find a funder that would support that work. And fortunately, when we went to Big Lots, they stepped right up and were willing to be our partners.
Great example of different partnerships coming together to, with the goal of feeding Ohio kids.
Absolutely. Our tagline, working together to feed Ohio's kids, never more obvious than with this partnership between Asset Strategies Group and Grange Insurance helping us with the van, Eclipse doing the wrap, and then Big Lots stepping up to help fund the meals. And then we've got Children's Hospital, the clinic being willing to pass out the food. So it's a perfect partnership.
Great. All right, let's go. We have a mission.
As you heard me say, delivering meals isn't something I do very often, but any chance I get to be on the front line handing a meal to a child, I take. You might have heard us say that those meals were headed to the primary care clinic at Nationwide Children's Hospital. I'm thrilled to tell you that just recently they reached out about expanding our meal distribution to 4 additional clinics in high-need areas. Being mobile has certainly made an impact on our ability to reach more children. And just like mobile feeding, we are always looking for other new ways to feed more children. We're very excited about a new initiative called Adopt a School. The pilot program launched in November at Moeller Elementary School in Columbus. This program provides weekend meals to all students for the entire school year. I had been interested in piloting this concept, but needed to find a funding partner. And when we were ready to get started, the champion companies immediately came to mind. They generously agreed to fund this pilot program for 2 years. The corporate partner helps alleviate food insecurity not only with funding, which of course is critical, but company volunteers have been hands-on packing meals and getting them to students. This brief video will show you what Adopt a School is all about.
Champion Companies decided to partner with CHA when we created our Champion Cares Foundation. And we specifically chose to work with the Children's Hunger Alliance because we were partnering with our local community, with a school that we can go and actually get to see the children's faces when we're giving them the food, and we can see the impact that we're having.
The kids really enjoy it, and they look forward to it every week. And the first day that we provided the weekend lunches for the kids, they were all asking, how do we get one? What do we have to do? So it's awesome that students it's for everybody.
One of the things that's been really nice for the folks at Champion is the ability to come either to the Children's Hunger Alliance warehouse or that you come to us and that we get to see the process of building the packages for food.
We feel very honored and thankful for this program, for our families, because sometimes the only meal they get is what's here at school. So at least if they have that box when they leave on Friday, that box is portable, so they're guaranteed at least a meal through the weekend.
This pilot program was not just about Champion helping. It was about bringing CHA, Moeller Elementary, and Champion Companies together to join forces so that, not one of us could make the impact that the 3 of us could together. I think that building those relationships and then exciting other companies in our community to join forces with schools was something that was really exciting for us.
It's so cliche that, children are our future, but they are, and they deserve it. And so if you have the means to do it, you should definitely do it. I mean, it's gonna feel great, knowing that you're helping a child or helping a family.
This is a great example of the impact of partnerships. Our goal is to learn what works and what needs change during this pilot year, and then expand to other areas around the state to benefit students in need. We simply could not have started this impactful program without the Champion Company's support. Many children are benefiting, and many more will, thanks to them. If you or your organization have an interest in learning more about what it takes to adopt a school, please reach out. We'd love to get several more schools adopted for the 22-23 school year. In just a few minutes, you'll hear from our panel of special guests who will give us a greater understanding of the impact hunger has on children from several unique perspectives. I'm sure you'll find their discussion informative, and it would help you understand just a little better how important our work really is to the welfare of Ohio's children. But next, you're going to hear from State Representative Dontavius Gerals. We first met at the State House when he spoke at the Lights On After School event, which highlights the need for more after-school programs. In his remarks that day, he shared some of his personal story of growing up in an impoverished area of Cleveland. I sincerely appreciate his willingness to share his story with all of you today. His candid remarks will remind us of the struggles children endure and the sacrifices made by family members to provide for their children, and that many times, not through lack of effort, find that help from organizations like Children's Hunger Alliance is necessary. Our tagline is working together to feed Ohio's kids. I want to again thank the partners and funders who join us in that endeavor. We honor the corporate and community supporters and individual donors so essential to helping us make an impact. If you aren't already one of those supporters, we ask you to consider joining us. No matter how hard we work or how many children we feed, there are always more children that need our help. Together, we can reach more children each year and truly make a difference in their lives. Let's do this together. And now I welcome Representative Gerals to share with us his personal story about childhood hunger.
I grew up in the Huff neighborhood of Cleveland, a neighborhood with too much poverty and little opportunity, but was blessed with people who cared about one another and tried to help. I remember times during my youth when I stood alongside my grandmother in line at the accessible food pantry. The pantry had fresh fruits and vegetables, and the neighborhood church also gave away bread and butter. These generous programs allowed us to make ends meet when we simply didn't have enough. Before my mother got her union job, she worked 2 to 3 jobs to make ends meet. Sometimes we needed a little help, but my mother always was resourceful. I never felt hungry. She sacrificed for my sister and me, putting our needs ahead of hers. She and my grandmother made sure we didn't go without. I was never ashamed or embarrassed by getting free groceries from the food pantry, because most of the people there lived in my neighborhood or looked like me. I believed that this was normal for families. It was a way of life. Do you remember in elementary school having something called a sunshine donut? There were these brown donuts wrapped in plastic with a sun illustrated on the packaging. Growing up, I remember some kids didn't like them and they tossed them in the trash. I had a friend who loved those donuts because he would go out into the garbage can and get them, wipe them off and keep them in his book bag. Often show me 20 or more. I remember asking, why do you have so many? He just replied, I keep them for later. Another friend collected the unwanted packages of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Other students would give theirs to him. His book bag was full of those sandwiches. In both cases, it was only much later as an adult that I realized my friends, these students, did not always have access to food. They were making sure that they and their family members had something to eat later on. School lunches were free in elementary school, but in middle school, they cost 50 cents. No money, no lunch. Sometimes I'd forget or simply didn't have the money. There were some days I wouldn't eat, but I usually could find a compassion teacher who would reach in their pocket and give me the money for lunch. I've never forgotten those small acts of kindness. As I look back, there were plenty of kids for whom food insecurity defined their entire childhood. I'm proud to support organizations like St. Stephen's Community House in London, a CHA meal distribution site right here in the district. During the pandemic, I joined them as they distributed food to those in need. As I watched the cars pull forward, with some with kids in the back waving at me, I saw myself as a kid growing up in Cleveland. It's that kindness and connection to others that made me who I am today. You are helping kids all across Ohio have brighter futures. I'm enormously grateful to the Children's Hunger Alliance for all they do, and I thank you for supporting their efforts. Together, let's build an Ohio we all deserve.
Well, many thanks, Mr. Geralds, for your heartfelt remarks there. You clearly had a couple of strong adults in your life, your mom and your grandmother, whose determination kept you from hunger. Well, now let's take a look at some of the partners who are working together with the Children's Hunger Alliance to fulfill their mission of feeding Ohio's kids.
Children's Hunger Alliance is a nonprofit organization that works across the state of Ohio. And simply put, our mission is to make sure that children that don't have enough food to live a healthy life have access to nutritious meals. The programs that we focus on at Children's Hunger Alliance are daycare centers, in-home childcare providers, after-school programs, childcare centers, weekend feeding, and meals for holidays.
Last year, with our partners, Children's Hunger Alliance provided more than 9.9 million meals to Ohio children. Strong partnerships are vital to our work, and we are always looking for new opportunities to reach more kids. When kids are not in school, they don't always have access to nutritious meals. Children's Hunger Alliance recognized this gap and began partnering with schools and other organizations to provide weekend and school break meals to ensure children had the food they need.
The expansion of the meals from CHA is absolutely critical. It's really hard for my teachers to guide kids academically and instructionally when you are having hunger pains. CHA keeping this whole process moving over the Thanksgiving break, they're saying, we recognize your need to eat did not change just because you were at a different location.
I don't know how broadly understood that is, even in a city like Toledo, that you have kids who might not get a nutritious meal if they're not going to school.
Children's Hunger Alliance comes along and says, hey, how would you like to do a third meal? Well, I mean, offering 3 square meals a day to the kids, on a daily basis, we jumped into chance.
Even while we were in like this hybrid setting where we weren't having kids come in every day, we have breakfast and lunch pickup, so our students could come to different locations within the district and pick up their meals.
If we don't provide our children in our state of Ohio one of their most basic needs, which is food, how do we expect them to do well in school and, finally maybe rise above poverty and break that cycle?
For the second summer, Children's Hunger Alliance provided mobile meals to food insecure children. CHA used 7 vans to make multiple stops each day in communities across Ohio to distribute meals. This innovative approach to meal distribution enabled us to get food in the hands of children who otherwise may have gone without. Children's Hunger Alliance relies on the time, talent, and treasure of many across the state. Donations are an investment for the future of Ohio's children.
So in 2021, we had 2 Roundup programs. We had the Summer Roundup program, and then we also had a November-December Roundup program. And we were able to raise a total of $20,000.
Our partners are making a big difference, and we can't do this alone. We need your help because the need is growing. Since the pandemic, more than 1 in 4 kids, that's more than 700,000 children, living with food insecurity right here in Ohio. It takes a lot of resources to get meals in the hands of kids. Donations from corporations, foundations, and individuals make this happen. Together, we get it done and help Ohio's kids have a better future.
The steadiness and the stability of the Children's Hunger Alliance gave our kids an opportunity to say, I can still get my free meals and be okay.
The continued support and partnership, it's just been, it's like been the perfect marriage. You guys are rock stars.
As we heard, Children's Hunger Alliance provided almost 10 million meals last year. It's a testament to the innovative efforts of their team and partners. But as remarkable as it is, think about the thousands more who are still hungry. Your gift to the Children's Hunger Alliance will make a difference. It'll put smiles on the faces of many children and give them the fuel they need to have a promising future. Please use the donor site on the left of your screen there, or text Feed Ohio's Kids, all one word, to 76278. And remember, thanks to Huntington, your gift will be matched and will go twice as far in helping kids. All right, let's check on the progress now of our Text to Give opportunity. Let me see, are we filling that apple yet? On the way, getting so close, the kids are counting on us here. So we ask that you please join us now and make a gift. I know we can do more here. We can reach more kids. So let's do this together. To look beyond the numbers and learn more about childhood hunger and its impact on kids and communities, we have three special guests now who have expertise from three perspectives. Erica Crawley is not here to talk about her military service in the Navy or her public service in the Ohio General Assembly and now as a Franklin County Commissioner. She's going to share with us today her experiences as a young parent struggling to give her twins the food and nutrition they needed. Dr. Liz Zmuda is a pediatrician who focuses on nutrition, physical activity, and social-emotional skills for healthy children. And she'll share some of the ways that food insecurity significantly impacts the physical and mental health and wellness of children. And as an educator, Steve Denny has been a teacher, principal, and senior administrator in the Winton Woods School District near Cincinnati. He's keenly attuned to the importance of good nutrition for student success. He's been a part of a growing breakfast program that helps to build a spirit of community and a culture of achievement in their schools. Stacia will lead the conversation.
Thank you so much, Bob, and thank you all for being here with us today. We want to focus on what childhood hunger looks like. We're all gathered here today in the spirit of feeding hungry kids, but we don't necessarily know what that looks like. Maybe we have a thought in our minds of what we think that looks like, but the reality may be very different. So we want to have that conversation and really focus on that today. Steve, when you as an educator are looking at hunger in the classroom, in the school setting, what does that look like for our kids?
Every child's unique, so it looks like a lot of different things, but there are some real big factors that you could definitely point to. One is you tend to see kids that are not focused on what you might like them to be focused on in the moment in learning. They can be distractible, and you have to think about if you're focused on where your next meal might be, or that you're not feeling great this morning because you missed breakfast or just wasn't available for you, then you're going to have trouble accessing those higher cognitive functions. And so that's something you have to be keenly aware of as an educator. You also can sometimes manifest itself as maybe even misbehavior, or what could be perceived as misbehavior. And it's coming from a place of really hunger. Sometimes it even looks like illness. The child might say, I don't feel good this morning. And the youngster might end up in the nurse's office, for example. And teachers have to learn to look for those things and then try to help, where they can, in helping those kids remove that as a barrier so they can really access the learning and, find opportunities.
It's hard to focus when your tummy is grumbling and you don't know why you feel this way. Liz, as a pediatrician, when you see kids in your office, what are you looking for that can help you identify kids who might be hungry?
I think the important part is not to look for any one specific thing. So you'll see a lot of the same things. They might come in with misbehavior, or the parents are frustrated with the child's focus. They're getting concerns from school or at home. They might have tummy aches or headaches, and they might have none of those things. And so I think the most important thing as a pediatrician is to just be aware and to ask. So everyone gets asked the same questions. And so that also promotes equity amongst all of us, so that it removes some of the barriers or the bias that we have when we consider food insecurity. The important thing for me to remember, though, is for every child, their brain is growing at an enormous rate. Their bodies, their muscles, their bones, every part of them is growing and developing. And if they don't have proper nutrition, anything can be off. And so just having that in the back of my mind makes me aware enough to consider it, depending, whatever that child presents with.
Erica, you have had quite a career as a lawyer, going to law school, and then also your time in the military. Degree, so much success when people would look at your resume, but you have really had an experience with making sure your kids had enough on the table. What does hunger look like to us? People might be surprised, as someone with your resume, that was a factor for you in your household.
Absolutely. In 3 different times, we struggled with food insecurity. And I would just piggyback off of what Liz said. was a mom, a single parent with twin girls, coming right out of the military, then having them and being on assistance, right? And making sure that they had the nutrition that they needed and being able to keep food on the table for myself. I don't think people would look at me and think, oh my gosh, like they're struggling to eat every day because of, the success that I had or that was even perceived or how I show up. I think people have preconceived notions of what hunger looks like or food insecurity, and it's not always that. And so, there was another time after I even graduated from law school, I was working at a firm and I lost my job, and so I was on unemployment. Unemployment doesn't always cover everything, and you get to a place where you're making those decisions between keeping a roof over your head, the water running, and food on the table. And luckily, I had family to help, make ends meet. But there were times again where, I was making sure that the children had food. I may have had a little bit, but it wasn't always nutritious food, right? We didn't always have fruits and vegetables to eat with every meal, and we didn't have 3 meals a day all the time. And, school and the meals that we got from that also played a factor and was helpful, and I know we'll probably get to that in a second.
Let's talk more about that. So we've talked about the challenges that the kids are facing right now when they come to school hungry. And we want to focus also about what's being done, because there's a lot of action already happening right now. Steve, with the students that you work with, breakfast is a really big component of what you're doing to help these kids. Talk about that and the difference that you're seeing.
Yeah, it's huge, actually. And like we've just touched on, kids don't wear shirts saying, "I missed breakfast." They don't have signs. And one of the things we found to be really powerful is what we call UBIC, or Universal Breakfast in the Classroom. And it's breakfast available for everyone. And every child has the opportunity, no matter what their particular situation might be, they've all got the opportunity to have a square meal coming in the door. And it's integrated into, what we might remember as homeroom. So you come in, the teacher takes attendance, you have the announcements, and at the same time, the meal is right there. They pick it up as they come in, they sit down, they have an opportunity to eat. And, if they choose not to, that's okay, but it's there and it's available for them. And most children do actually participate in that, and the families know that we do it, and so they have an expectation that that can be relied upon as a regular thing every day. And it sets those children up for success. It levels the playing field, takes away a barrier, and allows those children to access the opportunities that schools are charged with providing them.
Nutrition is key when we're talking about these growing bodies. What kind of a difference does that make for especially just a little person who is growing so fast, as you said?
Definitely. I mean, listening to that, it just makes my heart happy. My pediatrician heart just gets really excited because there's so much going on when we think we're just feeding breakfast, right? So breakfast is so important because they've been asleep all night, right? So they've had this prolonged period of time where they don't have food, and that's everyone. But what happens in the brain, and we can all relate to this because we know what it feels like to be hangry, but the parts of the brain that are well developed in children is the midbrain. So that's sort of the protective area. So it's a very emotional, irrational, reactive part of the brain. And so when you're hungry, that's why you feel a little irritable. It's developed early to protect the child. And what's developing slowly, all the way up into the mid-20s really, is the front part of the brain. And that part of the brain is what causes you to be calm and thoughtful. You're able to focus, you're alert, you're paying attention to what's going on around you. And you're able to build those emotional skills in the conversations and the support around you. And that happens when you feed a child or anyone. And so not only are you then able to activate the part of the brain that then they go to the classroom and they use and they can learn, but it also is building a lot of social and emotional skills, which are just as important as the rest of the development that's going on. So it's a really powerful way to provide development for kids, and it's pretty simple too. And the barrier that's removed by offering it for everyone and removing the stigma, it's so much easier to talk to a family in the office when we might identify food insecurity, and I would ask them if breakfast is available at school. If it wasn't accessible, they wouldn't do it because there was just too much stigma around it. So those types of solutions are just so powerful in supporting that child's learning. So it makes me excited.
Steve, how were you able to pivot when it came to the pandemic, making breakfast a priority, meals for kids, but then we had this challenge of reaching people in a totally different way? How did you maintain that connection with families?
The pandemic has exposed so many things that, for so many. So we actually employed school buses. I think we had 10 buses. Our food service workers would load meals on the buses, and we'd go to key points in the community where we know there was a concentration of families, and where they could come out and pick up meals, and be able to have that removed from the equation for them. They could focus on, all the hardships that were going on for so many at that time, especially as the pandemic really came to bear. So I think it's important that you offer opportunities for families to come, but it's just as important to know that you need to reach, we've learned, you have to reach out as well and try to make sure that you go to them. Don't just expect them to have the resources to come. Some families, some kids are more school dependent than others, and it's our job to recognize that, I think, as schools and as community and civic leaders, and be sure that we reach out in that way.
When we talk about hungry kids, they can't learn when they're hungry. This is a battle that we're talking about at a foundational level. What are we missing in this moment? How can we make those connections as community members? Because even if you look around at the people in your neighborhood, and like you said, every one of you in this moment have talked about, we don't know what it looks like. So how do we, as individual families, as households, reach out? What is the advice? What's your message to families out there who say, I want to help, but I don't know, I'm not sure? What do you think they should do?
That's a great question. I think, first of all, understand it's extremely real. I think sometimes people don't understand that it's happening. And so that's maybe the first step, is just an awareness piece. But that's what makes organizations like the Children's Hunger Alliance so impactful, is this is what they do. They feed kids, they feed hungry kids. And we would not be in a position we're in now were it not for the technical assistance that they provided us, because there are barriers for schools to implement some of these programs. And so I think just helping people understand that it's real, that there are people dedicated to filling in these gaps and trying to help level the playing field for children. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I would just piggyback off of that. I think for families who are in a position to give and contribute, especially for organizations like the Children's Hunger Alliance and others who are making sure that children have healthy foods to eat, and if you can give, then please do. But then also just realize that I think during this pandemic, like, everybody's dealing with something, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about if you are a family who is struggling and needs help to make sure that kids have full tummies. Please reach out and feel free to say, hey, I need some assistance. Nobody's here to judge. We want to make sure that you have what you need. And then for other organizations too, if you can partner, I volunteered with Children's Hunger Alliance a couple of years ago when we first came into the pandemic, and they partnered with COSI. And so we had drive-throughs where people could come through and get meals, and then they get a learning lunchbox, which goes over really well with children to have other things to do when it comes to activities and stuff. So for organizations that can partner and collaborate, please look to do that with Children's Hunger Alliance.
Final thoughts as we wrap up today. Any message that you want to share, or a story that you would like to share to remind people that this is only growing, the impact is only growing, and we can make an impact today?
I think I would speak from my profession that I think we have a lot of work to do in the area of what hunger looks like. I think we're asking the questions, but I still think there's a lot of bias as far as is what the weight of that child is. So there's some children that are malnourished that are obese, normal weight, or underweight. And so malnourishment doesn't look like a skinny little child who's running around. It doesn't look like major health problems early in life. It will become that way later. But really to challenge yourself to remove those biases, because they may have access to food periodically that's not nutritious. And so they may struggle with obesity. And the shame that's associated with that can prevent them from reaching out to get access to food. So I just think it's really important for all of us to challenge our thinking and make sure that we're just simply humbly asking, how can I help you? And what are your needs?
I would just say from a policymaker perspective, and this really hit home for me a couple of weeks ago, there was another elected official on the news that was asked about childcare, for instance, and that elected official made the comment about how, I don't think it's government's job to take care of other people's children. And I'm like, if we aren't thinking about everybody's children being our own children, right, and making sure that they have everything that they need, like you said, from food to the social emotional skills that they need to grow and be, productive adults who contribute, like, what are we even doing? And so I would challenge policymakers to think of it as the children in our community are all of our responsibility, and we are all inextricably linked. And for my children, I want them to grow up in a community where they feel like everybody's looking out for their best interest and wants the best for them and will do whatever to make sure that they have every opportunity to succeed, and food being one of those. So that's what I would say as a policymaker, like, to have that thought that the children are all of our children and our responsibility.
I think we can learn a lot from kids.
Isn't that
I
the
certainly
truth?
have over the years. And I know that I've never seen, I'm a recovering principal. I was a 3rd and 4th grade principal for 3 years. And I've never seen our kids get more energized than when they're helping someone else. That used to really inspire me. And I think we all can take that approach. Like, you're so right. Like, these are our kids, and we need to get behind that, because they are the next generation. That could be the future doctor or attorney, or you name the profession. We joke sometimes that we're trying to prepare kids for jobs that don't even exist yet. And that's how fast our world is changing. But without the food and the basic necessities that help propel children into the next level, it's just something we really need to get behind.
This is an opportunity, a moment that we can all come together and support our kids. It's so, so true. Thank you all so much for your thoughts and your perspectives on this particular topic and what's happening right now in our community. Thank you all so much. Bob?
Thank you.
Thanks, Station. Thanks again to our panelists here. Together, you've really given us a good picture of how food insecurity impacts children and why getting involved matters so much for their futures. Children's Hunger Alliance is able to provide help and hope with generous financial support from today's premier patrons. And they have a quick message for you.
Nationwide was founded in 1926, and we've been giving back ever since. It's part of Nationwide's heritage to be engaged with providing food security in our country.
Discover is committed to being a good corporate partner in the communities in which we live and work, which helps make us a stronger company and makes our community a better place.
At Kroger, we have a mission to end hunger in our communities. It is absurd that 40% of the food that's produced every single day goes to waste, but yet 1 in 9 Americans and 1 in 4 children go to bed hungry in our great state of Ohio.
Bob Evans Farms has always been a company with a lot of heart. For over 15 years, our organization has regularly supported Children's Hunger Alliance financially, and recently with on-site meal packing events that were held at our corporate office.
By supporting Children's Hunger Alliance, Discover is able to cast a wide net of support and make a larger impact.
As a food company, supporting Children's Hunger Alliance's mission aligns perfectly with our philanthropic pillars of food and nutrition and community.
It is imperative companies, government, and nonprofits partner together to accomplish the greater good for those who need us most.
It will take us partnering not only with great organizations like Children's Hunger Alliance, but other for-profit and nonprofit entities coming together, because when we come together, we can make true impact and change in the state of Ohio.
We are so grateful for the generosity of our premier patrons. They enable CHA to reach more children and change their lives.
The words of our panel communicated some of the dire consequences of going hungry in childhood. There's a sense of urgency in this work of feeding at-risk kids. Your dollars can turn into meals, which can turn into healthy, happy children. Many thanks to our premier patrons for their partnership and for the financial support. Bob Evans Foods, Inc., Discover Financial Services, The Kroger Company, Nationwide Insurance Foundation. Special thanks to our principal patrons, Happy Days Charities, Hexion Inc., the Robert Weiler Company, and thanks to all of this year's Menu of Hope patrons. It's an impressive list, and we are grateful. Their names are on the screen. They are brightening the future of thousands of Ohio's children who might otherwise go hungry. These donors care about kids in the most basic way by ensuring they get a good meal.
Please join them and support the mission of Children's Hunger Alliance to feed Ohio's children. Let's do this together. In fact, let's do more of this together. Let's take a look at that big red apple and look at our text to give progress. Look at that, Bob. The number is growing. We're so excited.
Don't forget, your gift today will be doubled by the Huntington Match. On the left side of your screen, you see an easy way to make a donation or text Feed Ohio's Kids to 76278. That dollar-for-dollar match will be available until noon tomorrow, so that gives you some time to recruit family and friends to join the effort. Getting food to kids who have none. What's more compelling than that? Children's Hunger Alliance works with more than 1,300 child care providers, school districts, after-school programs, and summer food programs across Ohio. They are CHA partners who are critical to this work and have the best interests of children at heart. And here now to recognize the Children's Hunger Alliance Programs of the Year honorees is Judy Mobley. Judy?
Children's Hunger Alliance is pleased to recognize 5 exceptional program partners. They demonstrate how much we can accomplish when we work together. They are on the front lines of childhood hunger and share our commitment to feed Ohio's children. Even in the ever-changing context of the pandemic, their commitment to improving the lives of children has never wavered. We are proud to announce that the Youngstown Department of Parks and Recreation in Mahoning County has been selected as the Summer Program of the Year. They first partnered with CHA in the summer of 2020, and this year expanded to serve children at 8 sites daily. They offered both congregate meals at summer camps and grab-and-go meals at non-camp locations throughout the park system. Running a meal program in a park can be challenging for many reasons, but they did an outstanding job and ensured many children were fed each day. Congratulations, Youngstown Department of Parks and Recreation. Gallia County's French City Academy is being honored as our Child Care Center of the Year. They were one of the few sites in the area to remain open throughout the pandemic and continuously served the families of essential workers. They are committed to giving their 88 children access to healthy, well-balanced meals and snacks and have partnered with CHA since April of 2020. Congratulations, French City Academy, and thank you for all you do for the children you care for and for being such a great partner. This year's Home Child Care Provider of the Year is Hope Williams from Cuyahoga County. Hope holds a pandemic child care license, which allowed her to remain open throughout all the ups and downs of COVID. She has partnered with Children's Hunger Alliance since 2014 and has gone above and beyond to help her families and their children. She planted a garden to provide them with fresh fruits and vegetables, and additionally, she distributes canned goods and bread donated by her church. Her compassion and concern extend beyond the typical home daycare setting. Thank you for your partnership and all the good work that you do. The after-school program of the year is Dayton Metro Library in Montgomery County. They partnered with CHA beginning in March of 2020 and grew their after-school meal program to now include all 18 branches. They operate under a grab-and-go model, providing children a bag of ready-to-serve meals once a week. During the summer, we began providing some fresh fruit in addition to the meals, which has continued through this school year. Last year, they served more than 124,000 after-school meals and an additional 60,000 meals this past summer. Thank you, Dayton Metro Library, for partnering with us to feed so many children in the Dayton area. And our final honoree today is Groveport Madison Schools in Franklin County, named the School Breakfast Program of the Year. In the spring of 2019, with the help of our school nutrition team, they received a grant from a national anti-hunger organization, Share Our Strength, to help implement a breakfast program throughout their district. For elementary and middle school students, breakfast is delivered to the classroom, which is a best practice. The high school operates a grab-and-go meal model, which works well for older students. Regardless of need, all kids have access to a healthy breakfast and start their day ready to learn. Participation has grown significantly, and schools report that the day starts on a more positive note. Congratulations to Groveport Madison Schools, and thank you for your willingness to ensure students have access to healthy food and are set up for success. We sincerely appreciate your partnership. Hearing just a little bit about these 5 programs highlights some of the ways they work with CHA and support children. On behalf of all of us, I extend our gratitude and congratulations to this year's honorees.
Congratulations to these honored program partners. They have again demonstrated this year how they're working together to change the lives of children. And many thanks to those who have contributed during our program today. You know, you've doubled your impact already with Huntington's dollar for dollar match.
Thank you. Now, if you've not yet given, it isn't too late. Text to give, and the match will still be available until noon tomorrow. Visit children'shungeralliance.org for the text to give link. When you sit down for dinner tonight, think about the thousands of Ohio children who don't have a meal. Join us in reducing the number of kids who are hungry. And let's take a look at that grand total for our apple today. Look at that number. So many of you have given. Thank you so much for your generosity. Bob, have you given?
I am going to in mere moments.
Where's your phone?
It's right here.
Where's your wallet?
That's
my phone.
It's actually your phone.
You're going to give from my phone, too.
From your phone,
Do you see how he does this? Yes. With all of you who have texted to give, thank you so much. And our many patrons, our Menu of Hope grand total so far, it's impressive.
Yeah.
But we know there's more work to do. Yeah. So I hope you will become a partner with Children's Hunger Alliance.
We've spoken a lot today about Children's Hunger Alliance partners and their pivotal role in helping CHA get meals to children. And you might be wondering what it means to be a partner.
Partners are people who work together toward a common purpose. When Children's Hunger Alliance thinks of partners, they think of school administrators, teachers, and food service workers who understand how important it is for all children to have access to breakfast and start the day off right.
How about healthcare providers who recognize a food-insecure child's urgent need for proper nutrition to grow and learn? Elected officials who champion the need to feed Ohio's kids. Community leaders who open distribution sites when kids are not in the classroom. Volunteers who pack and deliver millions of meals.
And finally, making all of this possible are our funding partners, corporate donors, foundations, government agencies, and hundreds of individual donors like you who believe in the importance of this work. Each of you has our thanks.
Too many of Ohio's children are hungry. You can help.
Let's do this together.